Welcome to the SampleServe SampleENV platform overview. The SampleENV platform is a multi-tenant platform. That means that there are different components that serve different connected users, each with their own data needs. For instance, a lab technician has different needs and uses than a field sampling technician does. The first part of our platform is the project management tool. That's where the project manager is going to set up their project. This is where they're going to input their sample location and well construction information. They're also going to connect to the laboratory they're using, more on this later. They're going to pick the analytical parameters they want to test for and select the dates they want to sample on. They can even schedule specific field technicians for that sampling. Once you have your project set up, you're going to hit the Save button, and that's going to push that saved scope of work order to the mobile field app. The mobile field app is designed to collect all your field data, take photographs, collect GPS locations. It'll even print sample bottle labels in the field right at the time of sampling. When they're done sampling for the day, or maybe at the end of the project, they're going to hit the chain of custody button, and that's going to ship that digital chain of custody file to the laboratory. The laboratory will receive the digital file within seconds. Then when the samples arrive either later that day or maybe the next day, they're going to be able to use the separate lab login app to log those samples in an efficient and accurate manner. Then, when they're done with the lab analysis, a week or so later, they're going to be able to upload the data back to the platform, and the project managers, the consulting engineering companies, are going to be able to generate all of the typical graphics and reports, showing where contamination is, where it isn't, what the concentrations are, and what direction it's heading. You'll notice that the first three parts of this platform show no cost. Our business model is to give away the data collection and lab components of the platform at no cost. We only charge for the optional report generation components. Users have to opt into the report generation component of the platform, which we only bill per sample. Everything else is free. It's not just a free trial, it's free forever. Here's a quick schematic of our data flow through the system. The project management tool pushes data to the mobile field app, which pushes to the lab app. Then, if you've opted in, you're able to generate all the graphic reports. All the components are connected to a secure central database. We can also connect to numerous other platforms out there. Most common, we can push and pull data as needed into Equus. This happens every day, with numerous users currently using that product, but using our mobile field app for the sample collection. The project management tool is very simple to use. Again, it's free of charge. You can schedule sampling events years in advance. It also communicates with your field technicians and laboratories instantly. If you make a change to the project schedule, you're able to communicate with the field techs and the labs simultaneously so that everyone is on the same page at the same time. It also automates your bottle orders. One of the more common things forgotten is the bottle order. The project management tool does this automatically. The generated scope of work is very detailed. If you need the field tech to do some other work items while they're on site, that can be programmed into the project management tool very simply, and then that's included as part of the work scope. We have the optional ability to generate paper forms for those that are nervous about going cold turkey on the use of paper. We created the ability for users to run paper forms parallel to the digital process. This is for new users nervous about switching to digital. It's rarely used, but available to anyone that feels the need. This video of our project management tool demonstrates that it's mostly point and click. Users select the sampling media as there are different tests for different media. They then give the event a name, for instance, Q1 monitoring. They then pick the day they want to sample, and they can even pick the person they want to assign to that sampling event. Then you're going to select your analytical parameters using the Manage Test button to pick from the selected laboratories menu for certain analytical parameters. After you've picked all your parameters, you're then going to go to your sample locations, which you've already uploaded, and then select which locations you want to sample from, and which method of sampling you're going to be performing at each location. You're also able to create and select individual custom forms you want at each location. Let's say you want to do a well inspection while you're sampling, and there are certain monitoring wells you want to redevelop, and you want to document that. You select all on the well condition inspections and select the wells you want redeveloped. Those customizable forms now become part of the field app data flow. The project management tool handles all your QA/QC very efficiently as well. It's intelligent in that it's not going to let you collect a duplicate on a location or a parameter that wasn't selected originally. It also handles all your MSMSDs, field blanks, trip blanks, and equipment blanks, all set up easily using point and click. You're going to also be able to do event-level custom forms as well. Let's say I want my technicians to do a tailgate safety meeting each day before starting work. Those forms can be created very easily through the platform. You can have multiple forms for each event and multiple forms for each sample location, and they all become part of the process and the record. You can pre-print nearly complete custody forms so that you have a paper one out in the field if you opt for that. You can also stick with the digital one if you like. You can pre-print sample bottle labels ahead of time if you don't want to do the in-the-field printing. You have the option to print to standard Avery labels that you can buy at any Staples store or OfficeMax, or you can pre-print to our special 3-part QR-coded labels. The project management tool has an informative dashboard as well. The dashboard is going to show you your list of projects and can be sorted by project name, the last time it was sampled, the next time it is scheduled, and it also shows a quick summary of the work scope for each sampling event. Again, everything I've talked about so far is free of charge. When you've saved your work scope, the work scope is pushed to the mobile field app. The app is designed to work offline. You're going to need to download your work scope to the device before you leave internet connectivity. Once you've downloaded the work scope to the mobile device, you're able to work continuously offline. You will have to connect back to the cloud, and the device will sync back to the cloud automatically. You simply open the app and connect to Wi-Fi, and it will upload your collected data automatically. If you are connected to the cloud while you're in the field, sampling and collecting data, it is designed to sync automatically. The app is available in Android through the Google Play Store and iOS through the Apple Store. Again, no charge for the app. One of the nice things about the app, if you've got multiple people out in the field sampling and they're working while they're connected to the cloud, they're going to see what the other technicians have completed as each sample and data syncs back to the cloud. If you've opted for the mobile printing, the labels are printed in the field right at the time of sampling. Everything's legible and neat. You sign your name on the device and your signature will print on each bottle label required for that sample. It's got a Google Earth type map on the main screen that shows you where all your sample locations are at. It shows you where you are relative to each sample location and allows you to find your way to a particular sample location. This makes finding locations in the field much easier. Samples are listed from clean to dirty by default. If you've uploaded historical data, the app will look back at the data from the last time it was sampled, total all the contaminants, and then sort the locations from clean to dirty. It's always a good quality control measure to sample locations from the cleanest ones first to the dirtiest ones last. It'll also resort locations alphanumerically, which makes finding a particular location easier if you have a long list of samples. If you are connected to the cloud, the project manager can be back in the office and track data, information, and photos as they come in. There have been numerous instances where project managers have reported to us that they're able to correct data entry errors, or based on pictures taken, able to identify technicians sampling the wrong well. Because of the real-time data transmission when connected, they've been able to correct these issues before the technician leaves the site. As mentioned earlier, you're able to create custom forms. So if you want to do a well inspection or other documentation as part of your sampling process, it's completed right in the app. Again, the field sampling app is available in Android and Apple. Here's a quick video of our mobile app in action. We recommend using a stylus, the little rubber tip on most pens these days. The reason is that gloved hands don't work very well on a touchscreen. You can get it to work, but the stylus works much better. As you can see, our labels are unique in that they are printed in the field and they are legible. Our unique 3-part label has a main part with 2 separate QR codes. The main part has all the typical standard sample information. When you sign your name on the device, it's going to be printed above your name on every label for that sample. It knows it's you because you've logged in under your unique username and password. The 2 QR codes are designed so that one is placed on the lid of the sample bottle and the second one, which is optional, can be left at the sample location. Let's say you're sampling for asbestos. You can come back to that sample location after lab results have been posted, scan that QR code, and view the analytical results for that sample location. Field and sampling data can be sent to anyone right after sampling from the mobile device through numerous methods provided you have connectivity. Field data sheets, seen here, can be easily branded to your company's brand by simply uploading the company's logo. The name of the field technician, their signature, and selfie picture taken for each sample location is also included on each data sheet. The field data sheet allows for up to 4 photographs of the sample location to be posted on the data sheet. You can take an unlimited number of photos, and they are stored in the project management tool, but because of space limitations on the data sheet, we're only showing the last 4 photographs taken. For low-flow sampling, as shown here, we show all the low-flow sampling data and stability calculations, plus we document all the other sample location and data collection information. Sample bottles filled, meter information, type of pump, other notes needed, time of the sample, volumes purged, all the stuff you should normally see on a field data form. Data can be sent from the device, both as a CSV file and a PDF, right after you're done sampling if desired. The mobile app has several interesting features to it. The first one is our sync indicator icon. As soon as you download the scope of work to the device is going to compare the information on the device to the information for this event in the cloud. When the field data on the device for that event is perfectly matched to the data in the cloud, that arrow you see circled will be green. As soon as you start to collect data, if you're not connected to the cloud, that arrow is going to turn yellow. That indicates that you have data on your device that has not been pushed and synced to the cloud. All you need to do is connect to the cloud and it will sync automatically. You can force sync by clicking the arrow and it'll sync right away. If you are connected to the cloud in the field, it will sync to the cloud about every 30 seconds while you're collecting data. When the arrow is green, it tells you that your data is safely tucked away in the cloud and you don't have to worry about losing your data. You could throw your tablet in the water or leave it on the roof of your car. It happens, and if that arrow was green before you lost your device, your data will be safely in the cloud. The next feature is the custody button, and we'll go into this a little later, but that's how you're going to start the digital chain of custody process by clicking that button. The arrow next to the word contamination is where you sort locations from clean to dirty. You can see underneath each sample location, it says total contamination and has a number. That's the total of all contaminants detected the last time that location was sampled. If you tap that arrow, it will resort alpha numerically by sample name. QA/QC information like equipment blanks, trip blanks, field blanks are handled at the bottom group together. You can see that duplicates and MSMSDs are indicated next to the sample location. If you want to add a new sample location on the fly, you'll simply click the plus button on the bottom, and it takes you to a new screen to set up a new sample. You're able to choose from an existing location or add a new location. The Field app has a built-in low-flow calculator. We use the most current US EPA methodology to do the calculations for you. Currently, you have to enter collected data manually. However, connectivity to various Bluetooth-enabled water quality meters is underway and anticipated very soon. When a sample location is completed and all data collected, it puts a green badge next to the sample location. If a location was not able to be sampled for some reason, it'll place a red badge, and you'll be able to take a photograph and describe why you couldn't sample that location. Also, once you start sampling a location, it will place a yellow badge to show, in progress on yours and other technician screens. If your lab requires a paper copy of a chain of custody, you can preprint that chain of custody ahead of time and manually complete the date and time on the custody in the field. You can also print a completed chain of custody from the mobile device if you have connectivity to a printer. If your lab is a SampleServe participating lab, again there is no cost to the lab or a requirement to participate. You can use the paperless digital chain of custody process. For the chain of custody process, we use a 3-part authentication on the field technician user. The first part is the technician's username and password. Everyone knows never give up your password. The second part is the signature on the device. After that, you're going to take a selfie every time you collect a sample and every time you transfer custody. That's how we know with certainty it's you. At the same time, we're also going to get a date and timestamp and a GPS coordinate. So there's no question about the who, the where, and the when of every sample collected and every transfer of custody. You can see here Jonathan is collecting a sample. He's already logged in under his username and password. He signed his name and he's taken the selfie. So we know it's him. Then he's going to hit the submit button and it's going to print his labels for him. When you've completed your sampling for the day, you'll have the ability to generate that chain of custody. It can be printed if needed and sent digitally as a PDF and as an electronic CSV file. The chain of custody looks like every other chain of custody you've ever seen, with the exception that it's not handwritten, and you can read it. It's got all the billing information, turnaround time, project information. It's got all the analytical parameters that you want tested, the number of bottles, date, and timestamp, all filled out automatically in milliseconds. The bottom gets a little bit different than a traditional chain. We break out each sample and who collected it. You can see here Jake collected these samples. Jake then gave those samples to Russell, and this is that transfer, the selfie, signature, date timestamp, and GPS coordinate. This information is collected on both the relinquishing person and the receiving person. Then you can see Russell took his samples to the lab. Down here are the samples that Russell collected. What happened was, they were both out sampling. Jake gave his samples to Russell, and Russell took them all to the laboratory. The key is, you're able to track each individual sample, all the way back to the individual who collected that sample. Very clearly spelled out right there on the chain of custody. Once your samples are received at the laboratory, any laboratory can use the Sample Log app, which again is free. Using this, laboratories can log samples in quickly and accurately. One nice feature that labs seem to love is that they can see when things are scheduled, and they can see when projects are initiated. As soon as someone in the field collects any kind of data for that event, if they're connected to the internet, labs can see the project as in progress. Once you've generated a chain of custody, they'll see that the samples are in transit. At that point, the lab can open that chain of custody and see what's coming in, even before the samples arrive at the lab, because it's a digital file. As I mentioned earlier, a lab can still use the paper process if a paper chain of custody is included in the cooler through one of the numerous ways we've already covered. If users want to use the digital chain of custody process, which actually has no paper involved, the custody seal, which can be generated by the field printer, actually acts as the chain of custody, which you will see in a second. If you've ever dropped samples off at a lab, you've seen the lab login person with a clipboard and a paper login checklist. That same login checklist is built into the Sample Log app and is customizable by the laboratory. The Sample Log application can integrate with any LIMS system out there through either an API, JSON file, or CSV upload. Currently, the Sample Log app is only available on Google. However, we do plan on having an Apple version by the end of 2024. Here is a quick video of the lab sample login process. There's the custody seal that we print off for the outside of the cooler using the same printer used for sample labels. The lab simply scans the QR code on the custody seal on the outside of the cooler, and then, if they are the lab of record and a lab user has the appropriate permissions, they're able to open the chain of custody on the lab login app. They will have to go through the same 3-part authentication, username and password, signature, and selfie, then they are able to receive those samples at the lab. The lab will then complete the customizable checklist, and once that is complete, They will confirm all bottles have been received using the camera on the app and scanning all the bottle QR codes on the lids. The app will audibly confirm the receipt of all bottles.
All bottles are scanned.
The platform knows the bottle inventory coming in, and it simply confirms the receipt of all collected samples. After receipt, lab staff can share the completed chain of custody data file to the lab's LIMS system using either an API or manual upload. The COC can also be shared with the client via a completed PDF, JSON file, or CSV file. The lab login app also has a Find My Bottle function. This function allows you to search for a sample bottle using the chain of custody. Simply indicate which bottle or bottles you are looking for, and then you use the camera on the mobile application to scan the QR codes on the lids of the bottles, and it will highlight the bottle you are looking for. This function eliminates the need to pick up each bottle to read the sample ID on the side of each bottle. The project management tool and mobile field app each have the ability to split samples between multiple laboratories. Ever so often on a particular project, some analytical parameters have to go to one lab and other parameters have to go to another lab. Both the field application and the lab login application are designed to handle this complexity in the chain of custody process. Again, there is no charge for the use of the laboratory login app. Once the lab is done with the analysis, typically a week or two later, data can be uploaded back to the SampleServe platform in any number of ways. Data can be uploaded by the laboratory, it can be emailed to the client, and they can upload it. There's also an automated email function where they can email it back to SampleServe and it will upload automatically. After data has been uploaded, it's simply a point and click function to generate all kinds of different graphics. There is a small fee for the use of the report preparation functionality. The platform can generate reports on groundwater, surface water, drinking water, soil vapor, air, cannabis, other media, you name it. Users can compare it to different cleanup criteria. We've input and uploaded most of the state's various cleanup criteria throughout the country, and many of the cleanup criteria from many other countries as well. On many reports, you're going to be able to select the criteria you want to compare your results to, and it will highlight exceedances in red automatically. If you've generated site-specific criteria, you can compare to that criterion as well. Users can generate reports very quickly in a matter of minutes. The first time setting up report preferences is going to take you several minutes. However, once your preferences are set for each type of graphic, you're able to generate those graphics in a matter of seconds from that point on. Users are allowed an unlimited number of graphics to report information on. This is handy for sites with multiple source areas and different types of contaminants across the project site. Training on the reporting functionality is pretty simple. If a user has any experience at all in preparing environmental reports, most of those users will learn how to use this reporting software in under 2 hours. As mentioned, we do charge a small fee for the reporting service. Use of the reporting services is not required, and the field data and sample collection applications can still be used at no cost. The vast majority of users choose to opt into our reporting functionality because of the value and simplicity of the reporting product. Here's a quick video illustrating the various types of reporting products we have. We can generate isochemical contours on a cross-section, groundwater flow contours, all kinds of data graphs and data tables, data box maps that you can compare to different cleanup criteria, and isochemical contours on a flat map. And as mentioned, isochemical contours on a cross-section. Currently, we do not build the soil boring logs or construct the cross-sections. We plan on having that functionality by the end of 2024. We can, however, plot an isochemical contour on your cross-section. Here's a quick list of all the different graphics and reports that we can currently generate. Each graphic can be generated for soil, groundwater, soil vapor, you name it. If there's a particular graphic that you like, we can build customized graphics as well. If we have the data in the system and you provide an example of your particular graphic, we can likely reproduce that graphic within the platform. We can also export data to any other type of database there is. One of the more common ones is Equus, which we have customers that export to that platform almost on a daily basis. There are also other entities that require a specific export format, like the state of Minnesota, that we can build for as well. That export functionality is fairly straightforward. You simply use the EDD export button. If you desire a straight-up Equus export, you'll use that process. If, for instance, you want a Minnesota export, you're going to call for that function. The platform is intelligent and it's going to know the state or territory the project is located in, and it will only show the functions applicable to that state or territory. The export can be in the form of a zip file that is handled manually, or we can use an automated API if desired. The platform is great for all kinds of different media. It's great for Phase 2 real estate transactions when the customer needs the report yesterday. It's also great for soil sampling, remediation system sampling, soil vapor sampling, surface water sampling, wastewater sampling, sediment sampling, air sampling, and, as mentioned earlier, asbestos sampling. Another significant emerging market is cannabis. As they legalize cannabis across the country, there's all kinds of quality control measures and regulations that require sampling, analysis, and reporting using third-party samplers and chain of custody documentation. Longtime users that have been using the platform report cost savings of between 40 to 60% over costs experienced using traditional sampling and reporting methods. It's because the platform saves time and effort in every category of work. In the field technicians report time savings of up to 20 to 40% because they no longer have to spend time searching for sample locations, filling out sample bottle labels, or sitting in the parking lot of a laboratory hand filling out a chain of custody on 3-part triplicate paper minutes before the lab closes. Probably the biggest area of savings is in report preparation. Again, we typically save users about 40 to 60% of their time on a typical project, and we have lots of testimonials to prove that. This brings us to our pricing. As mentioned numerous times, the project management tool, the mobile field app, and the lab login app are all free. Again, it's not just a free trial, it's free forever. We do charge a small fee for the graphics reporting package. Again, the reporting package is optional, it's not required. About 95% of our users decide to opt into the reporting because of the value provided and the quality of the reports. Our fee structure is based on the amount of usage. It's typically called, in the software industry, a metered subscription model. Fees are calculated based on the volume of samples and field data collected and only charged if you opt into the reporting feature subscription. The price per sample cost is based on volume, so depending on the volume of samples that your company typically averages per month, we'll quote you a price between $7 and $12 per sample. If you have significant volumes, we can provide an even better price than the $7. If you're not opting into our reporting requirements and you want to only use the field app and export to Equis or another platform, we do have a small fee for that export, and again the fee will depend on the volume. Typically, the export fee will range between 50 cents and $4 per location. If you've opted into the reporting features, you are allowed reporting on unlimited analytical parameters and allowed unlimited graphics generation. You can run as many graphics and as many types of graphics as desired. There's no limit on these services. If you've opted into the reporting, all historical data is uploaded for free. Let's say your project has 40 years of data. We go by the day you started the project within the platform, and any data and samples collected prior to that date can be uploaded at no cost. We only charge for samples going forward from the day you start the project. The reporting functionality will be available on both new samples and historical samples if you've opted into the reporting. Also, there is no per user fee. You can have as many users as you like. Our theory is, more users means more samples. Everyone in the company can have an account. There are no other fees. There's no startup fee, there's no monthly fee, there's no annual fee. We only charge for new samples collected going forward on that project. Then we bill you monthly for the projects that have reporting turned on. For instance, if you have 10 projects in the platform and you sampled 3 projects last month that required reporting, we're going to send you an invoice for those 3 projects on 3 separate invoices. What this allows users to do is to then take that invoice and pass it on directly as a project cost to that project client. This allows you to pass costs on directly to your customer without having to adjust your overhead and administrative costs for software subscription fees. It's actually one of the features that customers really like about our billing process. Getting started is fairly simple. Sign up for an account and then go through our built-in online training. You'll see these little circles with an eye in them all throughout the platform. Those circles contain links to instructions on that particular item. In this example, we have brief instructions and a video on how to generate groundwater flow contours. By clicking on the eye, it opens up a video showing you exactly how to use that part of the platform. Most of the videos are between 1 and 4 minutes long, so training is quick and concise. For first-time users, from start to finish for training, and setting up a new project is about 3 to 4 hours total. After the first project, each new project setup should only take you about 30 to 45 minutes depending on the size of the project. Project management from that point on is just a matter of minutes per event. SampleServe has other products planned by the end of 2024. Here's a quick summary. First, we're building the ability to offer the platform as a white-labeled application for various laboratories and even some consulting engineering firms. If you're interested in having your own application branded to your company name, let us know. We're teaming up with supply and rental equipment companies. Because of our project management tool, we're able to calculate needed quantities of supplies and equipment needed and place those orders through your favorite supply and equipment rental company. We're currently working on soil boring logging and cross-section development functionality. We hope to have these features available by midsummer. The calculation of hydraulic conductivity values from low-flow sampling is also a feature we are working on. It is possible to determine hydraulic conductivity values from low-flow sampling data. However, it's a requirement for the calculations to have very accurate groundwater drawdown and pumping flow rate measurements. We're also going to be implementing a sampling subcontractor bid system where users are able to solicit bids on sampling projects and events in the platform. You'll simply complete your project within the SampleServe system and then indicate that you want quotes from qualified subcontractors for your detailed sampling project. The contractors will be using this sample platform and sampling event to schedule a work scope, collect data, and submit samples to the laboratory. We are also working on the addition of artificial intelligence, sometimes called machine learning, to implement a variation of fate and transport modeling on the different types of media. This functionality will be available as a plugin and will require a separate fee on top of the reporting fee. It will allow users unlimited predictive analysis and will update predictions continuously every time you collect new data. This function will tell you what your plume or contaminant might look like in 2 years, 4 years, or even 10 years from now. This will allow users to not only determine the level of risk today, but also determine and evaluate your level of risk in the future. This AI product will also get smarter and more accurate as time goes on and as more data from more sites is input into the system. We appreciate your time to view this presentation. If you have any questions, you can contact Russell Schindler at the email or cell phone number indicated right here. Thank you.